guys, it's your girl Victoria, and today we'll be reviewing Belle Collective Birmingham Season 1, Episode 1, called A-Brewing. Did you think, for me being obsessed with Campus Beauty, I was now going to also watch and review her show, Belle Collective Birmingham? Come on, if you don't know me, you should know me. Okay, so let's just get straight into it. Okay, so we have Stormy. This is pretty much her show. Okay, I know she came from Love and Marriage Huntsville. Didn't watch it. My mom did. She knew about Stormy before me, but I knew about Stormy through Campus Beauty, so this is a fresh start. So we get introduced to Stormy. She's explaining her whole journey, starting off doing hair and how she started off making her first body glaze with her husband in her home. Now she has her whole business. She's big on TikTok, the #1 seller in TikTok in the US and UK. And we see her going to her warehouse, see how everything is going. She's currently working on the collab with Lala. I did do the review of both glazes. They're somewhere in the video here. Maybe I'll pin it at the end. I don't know. We'll see. But I guess right now they're just working on getting the special edition books for the Lala collab. Then we get introduced to her best friend Amber. Come to find out, Amber is Kylan's aunt. So we'll get introduced to Kylan later. And pretty much Amber explains how her and Stormy go way back, all that jazz, all that good stuff. So she does work for Stormy as the CFO for Campus Beauty. And she invites Stormy to go out to introduce her to a few people, such as Tiffany, and I think she mentioned somebody else. But Stormy's kind of iffy about meeting new people, and from the history of what Stormy's been through, like I said, I don't know the full history of the Love and Marriage Huntsville cast and stuff, but I know there is, some stirring waters over there, and also recent happenings, within her brand, so to speak. I know there's, a lot of things going on that we probably don't know about, but that we've heard about. But at the end of the day, I feel like a lot of people, whenever they're meeting somebody new, especially with someone as successful who has a business and where you just have to watch out for whoever, I can understand feeling iffy. By the end of the day, because of the fact that she is a celebrity, because of the fact that she has her own business, it's inevitable where you're going to always meet people. So it just depends how close you bring them to you, or you align yourself with someone, or, get with someone. So I don't think there should be a problem to meet anybody, but just, be cautious of how close you may get with someone, because not everybody has your best interests at the end of the day. So we'll see how that goes. We then talk more about a prototype, because the Lala collab, she's having books. So Lala's coming in with 2 cents. La and Sense, Love Lala. So they're all gonna come in, little booklets if you get the whole collection, which is like the EDP, the roll-on, the drops, and the glaze, and then like also a little creme de la creme. Stormy gets a prototype. It comes in the mail, whatever. She looks at the prototype, but it doesn't, even though it looks good, the quality doesn't look up to par for Stormy standards. So she calls in her marketing director, I believe he's called, her creative director. So she calls Mike in to come look at it. He makes a call to the distributor, and they kind of explain this doesn't look like how like the Alchemy box looks, how her signature box looks. So they do everything domestic. They don't do nothing overseas. And even though it is more expensive domestically, but they just think of, they don't want to do it cheaply. They want to make sure you understand why they charge the prices they do. And their prices, be pricing a lot of bit, depending on what you're buying. But anywho, he makes mention, the distributor makes mention like, oh, the live is for the 30th, but if you want us to redo the quality, or however, what they're going to do, of try to make the products look better, it's not going to come until after the live. So, now Stormy's getting emotional, because she's like, the people are not going to like that, because there was a whole debacle last year with the stack packs, and so she's getting emotional, understandably so. And you have Amber trying to console her, all that stuff, but I guess we're just gonna have to figure out if it works out. We then move on to Stormy. She got home. She's feeding her doggies treats. She explains the story of Tripod Tray. We all, for those who like me who are obsessed with campus beauty, this is nothing new. Tripod Trey is a rescue, and he was abused to the point where, unfortunately, he lost a leg, so that's why she calls him Tripod Trey. But I believe his name is I believe what she says, his name is spelled like TRE, like, or is it TRES? Pretty much three. His name is Three, to signify the fact that he has three legs. So after that, she talks with her groundskeeper, but then Kayla comes over to her house. Kayla explains that they met via, I think Kayla or Stormy explains that they met via social media. So they go to feed the horses and talk, and we kind of get introduced more into Kayla's backstory. So I believe she said she's an instructor and a mentor. Her daughter was in Black Panther, and she recently got a divorce. Her husband, or now ex-husband, she's met ever since she was 17, when she was working at Hooters. When she was 17, he was 32. So there was never any specifications of why it ended, but from what Story is kind of hinting at, he wasn't really letting her light shine. Not that he was a bad person, but it's like, now that it looks like that they're divorced, she can kind of like, spread her wings, so to speak. So listen, if she's happy, I'm happy, and that's pretty much what Stormy said too. So then we move on to Tiffany. She's having a Bible study at her house, and Kylan's there. I think Amber was there too. Other people was there, and so everything goes smoothly. And then we get introduced to Fumi. So Fumi is a content creator. She's Nigerian. She has 2 kids. She's married. All that stuff. They have a beautiful home, but I guess maybe she wants to upgrade or have something bigger or more spacious, or whatever the case may be. So her and her husband, while they're making egusi, they're talking about what they want in a new house, or the houses that they previously went to go look at. I'm sorry, excuse me. And, her sister comes over to, discuss more about this whole house hunting situation. And it doesn't seem that her husband is too much on board. Like, he's like, okay, if you want to get a new house, cool. But I don't think for him, he's really pushing on it. Like, their house is beautiful. So maybe I missed the exact reason why Fumi wants another house, but she just wants to something, I guess it feels like more elaborative, and the sister's just like, so you're looking for like a $5 million house? And she's like, yeah, kind of. And even her kids, Fumi's kids, doesn't want to move, but Fumi's just like, I'm not listening. I'm not trying to hear what they're trying to say, because at the end of the day, they don't even take showers for real. They don't want to be taking showers. So I'm not about to, they're not going to stop me from finding a new house. And does a kid play part in whether you get a new house? For some people, and then for some people, apparently not. So listen, to each their own. Like I said, I think her house is beautiful, but then again, I don't have the biggest house myself. So look, if you can do it, go ahead and do it. But I do agree also with the husband saying, like, you can't really, or it's not wise to buy a new house when you have yet to sell the current house. And the current house don't seem like it's something that's going to be a couple $100,000. It look like it could be $1 million house, if not more. So if you have the funds to do what you do or what you want to do, hey, by all means, who am I to say anything? But if you don't, and if you don't, maybe sell this one first before getting another one. I don't know. Get it like a temporary house that you can rent while you try to find a new one. Like, I don't know. But from what he's saying, it may seem like you might want to proceed with caution for me, but girl, do you. You seem fantabulous, and, if I have funds and stuff, I'd be fantabulous too. So there's that. So then we move on to Amber. She's home, gets a call from Stormy. She lets us know that Kylan lives with her. So Amber and Stormy talk about the whole book fiasco and, the pre-release party that they're having. Stormy's talking about who she's inviting. She doesn't want it to be too granular. She wants it to be, a little intimate, have a few bloggers and all that stuff there, a few people from TikTok. She mentions Kayla's coming. Amber's kind of like, I don't know, because Amber's not too fond of Kayla, because of the fact that I guess the first time she seen or was introduced to Kayla kind of like brushed her off. They didn't really acknowledge her. So it kind of like rubbed her the wrong way, which I can understand, makes sense. And so she doesn't know how she feels about that, but listen, at the end of the day, for me, it feels like at the end of the day, Amber's gonna be professional. You know, she's CFO of Campus Beauty. She has to be there. And you know, if Kayla's coming, look, oh well, we're just gonna do our best to keep it professional, and hopefully, it was just a mishap the first time they met. So they didn't talk about Stormy's nails because I guess she was at Tony's, getting her nails done, and you know, Stormy always have her stiletto nails, the long stiletto nails, like long stiletto nails, giving Carolina Herrera stiletto heels. Okay, that's the length we talking about. So Amber makes a joke like, you know, how do you wipe your booty? Which is a valid question. That is a valid question, Stormy. Anybody who be having long nails, yeah, how do you wipe? Because these nails, like this is the length I'm gonna go. Maybe it could go a little bit longer. But I've had long nails, not Stormy length nails, but I've had long nails before, and things happened in the bathroom once. And after that, I was just like, never again. We're gonna make sure we don't get to that length where those, you know, things be happening. I had to wash my hands 5 times, and I still didn't feel clean. So, valid question. We then move on to the pre-release party. Okay, we have Tiffany and her friend Kendra. They're on their way. They talk in the car. Tiffany explains that she is sober because when she drinks, she turns into a whole different person. So I do respect that. We then have Amber and Kylan on the way, driving in the car, talking. We get to the venue. Venue is beautiful. Unfortunately, Lala couldn't make it, but Stormy does make sure to FaceTime Lala so she could show her what the venue looks like. They do talk about the whole book issue, but Stormy said it's been handled. Supposedly, she just got a prototype, so the actual book that's going to go out to the customers are better quality and looks better, but they just sent her what it will look like, you know, I guess cut out of it, you know. So Stormy's just going to have to trust the process and hope what he says is true. Okay, so then we have whatchamacallit, Kayla. She comes in. Amber is immediately annoyed. She brings her new boyfriend. He's noticeably older than her. Stormy is concerned but keeps it cute, and I agree with Stormy. It's like, you know, because of her, Kayla, being with her ex-husband for so long. I don't know how old Kayla is currently or whenever this was filmed, but it's kind of like you're repeating the same cycle, you know, just a dude that's like way older than you. And as long as he treats her good, hopefully, then she should have nothing to worry about. But I can understand Stormy kind of being like, okay, you're repeating that same exact pattern, you know, someone who probably wants you to be more of a company to them versus you growing, maybe not being in the house. Like I said, I don't know exactly why her and her husband divorced, but, you know, if it's along the lines of what Stormy is insinuating or implying, then yeah, you just proceed with caution. I don't know how long her and homeboy been kicking it, because she says in the confessional that she's been divorced from her husband for like 3-4 months. So it seems like you just kind of not even got over that last husband before you moved on. But then again, I don't know how long they've been separated. There's just a lot of missing pieces that I feel like I can't even really elaborate to give my opinion on. But at the end of the day, if he's treating you good, if there's no red flags, then, you know, more power to you, Kayla. So we then have Amber. We see her like in front of Kayla, and she's kind of annoyed that Kayla's not addressing her, saying hi to her. But I'm looking at it and I'm like, well, Amber, your back is to Kayla, and like low-key her back is to you. So if you feel like she should address you, if she's not and it's bothering you, then maybe you should address her. You know, I'm a person personally, I don't like confrontation, but you know, I just feel like if it's bothering you to the point where it's like you're making mention of it or you're looking noticeably uncomfortable, especially from the moment she walked through the door, then maybe you should address her, you know. So we then have Fumi sitting down with Stormy and Tiffany and Kendra. She's talking a mile a minute. Tiffany's looking annoyed, saying, oh, you know, you take my best friend from me, because, you know, she's kind of like talking to Kendra. But since Tiffany's like in between Kendra and Fumi, I guess maybe she feels Fumi's like over talking her, whatever the case may be. But I'm like, Tiffany, you're not even saying anything. So what are we feeling upset about? Low key, high key, I love it when people talk a lot, because that just gives me less. I don't need to talk. I'm a person. If you don't know me personally, you're gonna think I'm a mute, because I look. I'm not going to try to overtalk nobody. So if you talking, go back, go ahead. I'm chilling. I probably got something to do on my phone anyway. So it's just like, I'm not, girl, to me, it's not a big deal for me personally, but I guess Tiffany's annoyed or whatever. So we have people going to smell the scents, for the Love La 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 Intense. I seen some of the people that I rocks with from like the Canvas Beauty Facebook group, also from TikTok. I seen Jazzy Red, I seen Shataria. I didn't see, maybe I missed it, but I know who other people was there. I did see Dr. B on the TV, but I do know other people like Candace was there, and Kelsey, I believe her name is, she was there also. So it's just nice seeing that, you know, people just doing normal reviews like me on TikTok or, on YouTube and being at an event like that. I feel like that's a major opportunity. So I love that so much. But Amber sitting down with Stormy and telling her, oh yeah, Kayla didn't talk to her. So Stormy goes call Kayla. And she doesn't really, Stormy calls her over, but I guess trying to let them hash it out. But it's just like, well, if you called her over, Stormy, like tell her like what it is. So Amber's saying you didn't talk to her or address her. So what's going on? So I guess she leaves that for Amber to do. So Amber finally confronts Kayla, and Kayla's just like, I don't recall. And there it is. Okay, the episode will end. Okay, and I'm just like, Kayla, what we doing here, bro? Like, is it like you see Stormy as a best friend, so you feel like Amber is kind of in the way of you being her best friend or whatever, even though Amber and Stormy goes way back more than you and Stormy go way back? Like, at this point, what we doing? What's the issue? Like, why are we being petty, folk? Like, but I don't know. It seems cool. It doesn't seem like something where it's too much drama, but it doesn't seem like something where it's just like we being adults here. It feels like cattiness already. And let's just all grow up. But if we all grew up, would there ever even be a show for real? Probably not. But I'm gonna watch it anyway. I'm gonna review it anyway. So there it is. What it's been so long since I've done a review. I don't even know what my ending really be, but let me know your thoughts of episode 1 of season 1. Be easy breezy, lemon squeezy. I don't know. I'll figure it out and I'll do it on the next one. But until then, bye guys.